Welcome to myprojectbazaar.com. Our product title is a performance investigation of a 4-switch 3-phase inverter fed induction motor drives at low speed using fuzzy logic and PI controllers. Now we are going to discuss about our product abstract. In our process, the investigation of dynamic performance of an FLC based 4-switch 3-phase inverter fed induction motor for high performance industrial applications. The load disturbance and parameters varies the particularly low speed. The variation of the proposed the FLC in comparison of PI controller using the simulation and experimental result the different operation conditions. The three-phase motor in the inertia and stator and rotor resistance using the DC link voltage across each capacitor is equal to given input voltage. The generation of three-phase output voltages using the 4-switch 3-phase inverter are balanced with adjustable voltage and frequency. In the current analysis, and the 4-switch 3-phase inverter switches are considered as ideal switches. The 3-phase output voltage of the 4-switch 3-phase inverter are obtained using the DC link voltages and controllers with using the IM drives to overcome the parameters variations. The low speed and operation of motor current and the inverter using the feedback and the motor voltages then produce using the voltages. The generated 3-phase output voltages using a 4-switch 3-phase inverter are balanced with the adjustable voltage with the ideal switches. They keep the motor speed and alignment of the desired speed, the rotor and motor current, and keep the reference current. The implementation of the complete techniques using the induction motor drives using the 4-switch 3-phase inverter using the MATLAB Simulink tool. Now we are going to discuss about our product flow diagram. In our process, we have given the input for the AC source. The alternating current is an electrical current which flow for the electrical charge periodically or reverse directions, whereas the direct current for using the DC, the flow electrical charge is used only one directions. The AC is from the which electrical power is delivered to the business and the residents. So we have using the some home appliance televisions and electrical lamp is using that. So the common example of the DC power is battery cells in the flashlights. Observation of the AC and DC the often using the alternating and direct current. So we using that our process we have using the AC power supply is the input source, and then using the converter switches. In the converter switches we have for using the rectifiers. The rectifier is the electrical device for the convert the alternate current to and periodic reverse direct current. So using the mainly for the rectifiers is a main component of the converter switches, and then process the rectifications and using the number of forms and including the vacuum to some applications. So in the rectifiers and the silicon based semiconductor switches, and the rectifier has many uses for the serving the components and DC power supplies and high voltage direct current power transmission systems. So using the rectifier based switches, and main concept for the 4-switch 3-phase inverters. In the power inverter for using the electronics devices circuit, the direct current and alternating current for the input voltages and output voltages using the frequency based the power handling the process. The inverter does not produce any powers. The power is produce the DC source. So the power inverter can be electrically, and the electronics may be the combination of the mechanical effects based on the electrical circuits. The static inverters do not use moving the ports of the conversion process. So after we using the some main concept for the inverter, so using the control based. So our process we using the fuzzy logic controllers. So fuzzy logic control system is a control system based for the fuzzy logical and mathematically systems analysis for these input values and log variable for that just once we give the some machines controllers. So we using the some fuzzy refers to the fact of the logical and the expression of the some true or false process. So this condition for the fuzzy logic, and then main control for the hysteresis controller. This basic operation for the current mode hysteresis controller. The inductor integrate of the differential voltage between the output voltages, the power stage and the output voltage of the amplifiers. So the finally we using the some three-phase inverter and the application for the induction motor. The electrical motor is such the electromechanical devices convert the electrical energy to mechanical energies. The AC operation for mainly the three-phase and widely used the motor is the three-phase induction motors. That's we use the motor does not require the starting devices. We can use the self-starting induction motors. So conductor have any heavy and copper the aluminum bars with using the circularity and rings and parallelly to axis for the slotted in liquid the process. So we using the main application for induction motor process. Now we are going to discuss about our product running processor. In the process we have implemented using the Simulink tool, mainly the 2013 MATLAB process. These 4-switch 3-phase inverter and using the for induction motor applications, whereas we using the some MOSFET switching conditions. So mainly on the switching pulse we are giving the fuzzy logic controller and the hysteresis controller. So we combination of controller we using give the some pulse for the MOSFET switches and generate the 3-phase inverter process using the induction motor. So some first we go into that how to we create the designing process. So the separately the MATLAB tool, the Simulink tool having that library process for the electronic Simulink process. Just that's on the library browsers which just search some devices name for that commonly using for the some devices names for the MOSFET and inverting process, some induction motors, whereas the pulse width modulations and fuzzy logic. So what kind of components and the library functions we need for this process, just collect search from here and collect from that designing completed. After we go into the completion of the process, the mainly we use for the power guide. The power guide is the overall panel is using for the power supply and is compulsory we give the some power guide using the continuous power guide process, and then almost we using the discrete model also we use. See the completion of the process completed. So just go into the run the button for this simulation process. Just click the process. After we get the scope model, see we connect this every and every process we connect to the scope model for the input and input current, input voltages and output voltages, and induction motors for rotor speed and torque speed. So whatever we need on the pulse something, so switching pulses we need the scope model. We connect those everyone we going to the scope model we generated. After we show that input and output voltage comparisons and give the some performance result. So after the main reason for the THD, total harmonic distortion is very important for the output voltages. Just we go into the continuous parameters values for the power guide, that we generate the some input analysis for the THD values. So we can comparison for the performance for the input and output voltages and previous something single phase or 3-phase inverter switching conditions. So we compare the some performance analysis for the induction motor THD values. So this completion process we completed. So go into the scope model. So the completion of running the process, we go into the scope the model. So we have the multi input for conditions. This is the switching pulses. After that this is scope for the rotor current second level. So 3-phase current level and rotor current for the this completions. The second model for that the stator process, the stator current. So 3-phase level current and voltages. After that we give so rotor flux and stator current process and rotor voltages also. So everything we give the some this is for the fuzzy logic process, 3-phase output voltage for the this is so 3-phase induction motor, 4 switch, using the 4 switch inverter process. So this is the complete 4 switch 3 phase inverter using the fuzzy logic and PI controllers. Thank you watching our video.